This is a podcast from the Queen City Podcast Network.
Welcome to Nerd Skool.
Yeah.
Suck it, nerds! Suck it, nerds! Suck it, nerds!
Visit me, daddy ass.
Welcome to Nerd Skool.
My name is Low Key. Welcome to the Nerd Skool podcast. You Jack.
Well, speaking of Blacula,
Yeah,
Well, wait.
Yep.
That's one. Welcome back, everybody. Two,
yeah.
you forget
sorry,
that we
I've,
actually need to talk to the people we're talking to. Two, I don't know if you all remember. If you've been listening to us for the last two seasons, you know that in between, we like to take a break and each recommend a movie for us to watch. And it can come from any fandom, it can come from any genre. Do note Joe tends to pick dumb movies.
yeah,
And then we'll go movie by movie. So this is a break from our main fandoms and talking about Blacula today, which Joe, within the first 5 minutes, I hated you.
Also, before we jump into Blacula, I would just like to say happy birthday to Bruce Wayne.
oh,
As we February 19th is Bruce Wayne's birthday.
Look at you.
Really?
Yep.
so
Thank
and
you
for
on
you,
his behalf.
and for you gamer nerds who will probably be listening to this way too late, Warner Brothers for Bruce Wayne's birthday is having a run of sales on all of its Batman games. So if you love the Dark Knight,
so when you say
and though you might want to pick up Gotham Knights, it's only $11.99.
Oh, that's right. That was the sort of, I guess that's set in the Arkham games universe. But that's the one where you're not
It's
Batman, you're all
supposed
his
to be.
buddies.
It's supposed to be, but the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League is definitely set in the Arkham universe. But this is not about that. This is about this great movie that Joe picked.
Let's get through Blacula.
I just wanted to throw out there happy birthday to Bruce Wayne.
when
And
you
I'm
say
sorry I had to miss the end of our Endgame discussion. But
when you
wait,
say
or-
Bruce Wayne's birthday, here's a Batman T-shirt Andy had in the 90s.
I did.
in
Of
high
course,
school.
all of our listeners can see that.
They can't see it, so I'm holding up in my Zoom.
Yeah,
But when you say
it's a
Bruce
black
Wayne's
shirt
birthday,
with a picture of Batman.
there you go. Thank you, Andy.
are you saying in the comics they established that it's February 19th, or is that the day that the first Batman comic was revealed or something?
No, that's
His birthday.
It's like how Nick Fury's birthday is July 4th.
Right. I don't.
You
I
know,
don't
it's-
oh, okay. So they say his
It's
date
his
of birth.
actual
is-
birthday.
I
Yeah.
see. They say. What year do
They
they
don't
say it
specify
is?
the year.
They don't
Well, I
specify
guess-
the year.
Maybe the first time they ever announced
I
it,
don't-
they probably didn't.
I don't know what year that.
You don't know enough
dating
about
him as.
Batman, is what you're saying.
Well, you have to remember how many reiterations of Batman we've had.
How many have there been?
Right.
Too damn many.
Okay.
I love
So
that.
Batman is over
but there are
75
millions.
years old.
do you guys? How often do any of you listen to Bat Dance by Prince? Or the artist formerly known as
Zero.
Prince?
I don't know when the last time I've listened to that.
Wait,
Well,
All right,
I just
back
realized
to
that.
Blackula.
okay.
Blackula.
So my choice was Blacula, and I was gonna just tell everyone I originally picked this because I was mistaken. That I know I have a friend whose dad directed and wrote some and was in I thought several Blaxploitation films. For some reason, the one that stuck in my head was Blacula. I know he was in Blacula. I already wrote it or whatever. And then I went to look, and then I couldn't even remember his name. You know, I know that my friend was Stephen Turner, who is an owner and director of a theater that now the Gate Theater in Bangkok, Thailand. Actually, he's in Myanmar, Thailand, but somewhere outside of Bangkok. I don't know. Bangkok's the only big city I know. Anyway, he used to live in Chicago. Cool guy. And then I remember him telling me his dad was a Blaxploitation something. And then when I went to look up who he was, and then I found out he was not in Blacula, didn't write Blacula. It was Dolomite that he wrote the script for. But then he was in a lot of stuff. Like he was in The Lucy Show. He was in MASH, the movie. but he's not in Blacula at all. But I had already said Blacula, and it seemed like a nerdy thing, and I've always wanted
You
to say
also,
Blacula.
that was already the second time we had let you change your movie, which is why.
Yeah, because I had originally picked Weird Science, but I can't remember. I just pictured TBJ watching Weird Science and the boob enlargement thing, and I knew I was gonna catch hell. So I was like,
I mean, there is plenty of homophobia, misogyny, and
that's the thing when you go to the 70s. I think it's hard to not find it when the farther you go back, which sucks. But that's what Blacula could be so good. So and then I sent Art an article I found somebody wrote. It was like a review written by someone who is homosexual and just saying how that person loves campy 70s stuff. And despite the fact that this is filled with homophobia, they still almost like this movie, but that almost, it's like if he could get past it, he would. He's just trying to take it with a grain of salt. This is how people were.
There's a certain grain of salt, but you still cringe. Like the first time
cringe. Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, they throw and it feels like it's only the cops that throw the F slur around. And
yeah, but in a way that's like, yeesh. And
it's just like, whoa.
Man,
I mean, I guess they're ostensibly supposed to be the good guys, but it's also, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, hey, this is like. I was curious more. I mean, if you all know a bit more about the term Blaxploitation and what it actually means. I mean, does it necessarily mean the creators are also Black people, or is it just like they're sort of exploiting Black stories for, pop entertainment? And I don't know. I mean, because
originally
the name sounds like it's bad, but it's also good.
Originally,
I don't know.
It is an answer to a call for more Black film. So it is Black creators. The NAACP at some point were like, hey, we need more Black films. And some people said, you know what, let's do this. And we'll, we get our Foxy Browns, we get our Shops, we get our Blaculas. But, sometimes we are our own worst enemies and lean into stereotypes. And sometimes, just because you happen to be one of the people in the genre doesn't always mean it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like if you want to as charitably as possible, I was trying to sort of say that it could also be a depiction of cops as assholes, because
I do think the cops are meant to be.
Yeah, that's.
I think it is on purpose.
If you look at Black Dynamite, or especially in the 70s, right? So 70s was all about kill Whitey, right? And most times Whitey was the man, and the man is basically how in reggae music, Babylon represents the man, represents the police, which represents society basically holding back the Black person, or the Black people, I should say. So
the cops aren't supposed to be good guys here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically they're
one Black.
They're like the vampire fighters, so I guess they're supposed to be hero. All right, go ahead, Art.
Yeah, so you have that one Black person who might be a cop who's trying to do right, but then he also gets mixed up with, that sergeant or that police officer who basically still wants him to, I'm doing air quotes, fall in line, but then he has to fight this thing here, but then he gets hooked up with some woman or some other cause to try to destroy something or save something, and then it becomes something bigger than. It's very what's the word I want to look like, the word is eluding me now. It'll come back to me. But
I was just gonna say how it's sort of, it was like, if you look at when you study it and everything, and I took a Black pop culture class in college, and it was sort of like it's hard because it's like there was good things about it and bad things. Like some good things were that it starred Black actors and it gave Black actors a platform, and it was meant for Black audiences, and it was like a fun thing for them. But at the same time, a lot of times it would it would repeat white stereotypes,
Yeah.
and add that to it. So it's kind of like sometimes you can say it's good for things, but bad for race relations. And so it's like
Is that the exploitation portion
the
of
exploitation.
Blaxploitation?
Well, it's like
Even if you
anything,
look
it's
at this
problematic.
film,
Yeah.
you have the upstanding Negro who is the doctor, right? And even when he's at the funeral home, he's like, "Man, that's one uppity Negro." I'm saying that word, but don't nobody else say that damn word.
Right,
Will
like,
come
yeah.
through this podcast.
Yes,
and
right.
just a quick PSA to all. But he is even framed for a moment by both races as uppity or wants too much, or so it's walking that delicate balance. But I think there is a reason that they all have a strong Black lead, because you got Foxy Brown, you've got, like I said, listen, did we
Gloria
need to see Pam Grier's
Hendricks.
boobs all the time? Not necessarily, but I'm not mad at her boobs, girl. Listen, let them. But it was a way to get people in the audience. So, and I think you have to think about modern day, like people talk about Tyler Perry. There are people who love Tyler Perry's productions. There are people who are like, yes, Medea, I love it. But Medea is a stereotype in itself, and it leads into stereotypes. So there's an essence of, yes, it's good because some people are getting seen. Well, people of color are getting seen. Yay. There are some people who relate to it, and that's awesome. But there are always going to be some people who are like, is that all of us? But then is it really fair for us to judge it, because all white films don't portray all white people the same, and we're used to it. So I don't think we can dwell on it too much. We can appreciate what it was trying to do, but also point out the internalized misogyny, the homophobia from hell, and all that jazz.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I remember being actually I've only seen one Medea film, or Medea, and I would like, and it was like number 8 in the series. I don't know how many there are, but I just happened to see it, and I remember being surprised. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess she's a stereotype, but I was very, me, fat old white guy, surprised that like she was the main character, and she's just constantly spewing anti-religious things. Like,
well, here's the thing. Medea is funny, but you also have to take into the account that it is a Black man putting on the portrayal of a Black woman.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you're like, is that how older Black women are seen? Listen, there are plenty of Medea films that I've hooted and hollered at. My mom dragged me to a play or two when he used to tour on the road. And it is there for a reason. But is he the best filmmaker of all time? No. But does he get his money?
No.
He does. He has a whole studio. You know what I mean? The man's making money, so I'm not a hater, but I also am cautious when he plays a stereotype of an older Black woman that is favored by way too many people.
Well,
as far
Blacula,
as this movie goes, I was, again, I'm trying to view it as charitably as possible. So, but as far as, I mean, yeah, like, they throw the F slur around a lot, but it's only like the cops that do that. I mean, there's still, I feel like maybe this is overstating, but I feel like most films of the era would have completely ignored, like, he's still trying to solve their murders even after, like, they've been written off.
Good point.
And the characters themselves, as depicted, are maybe a little but not nearly
a little
as,
Andy.
like, swish. I mean, I feel like they're not nearly as, like, maybe I'm just comparing them to Lamar from Revenge of the Nerds, but it's, which is probably not the best comparison, but I mean, they don't seem as awful as I feared, I guess. And but it's not good. I'm not saying that, but it's it could be a lot worse.
Directed, 1972 film Blacula, directed by William Crane, an 18th century African prince turned into a vampire by Dracula finds himself in modern day Los Angeles. Written by Joan Torres and Raymond Koenig, starring William Marshall, Vanetta McGee, and Denise Nicholas.
William Marshall, also the king of cartoons from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
That's who it is. It was killing me. I was like, why do I know him? And I kept thinking Electric Company. But I know that was Morgan Freeman. But I was like, why does something as a kid? Damn it, the king of cartoons. Fuck. Thank you. That I don't know why I didn't look it up, like who he was, or maybe I did. I just didn't recognize anything.
I just happened to cross it, man. And of course, there were more than
Ah.
one King of Cartoons, but
Oh, there was. Oh, he's the one I
yeah,
remember. That's who he was.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, it's not a good movie, but like watching it, there's something about watching like low budget 70s movies that you're almost making fun of them as you're watching them. You're like, oh God, so bad. Like such terrible fight scenes and
Every fight scene, I was like, holy moly.
They're
Do they
so-
not?
so
Are you
bad.
telling me in 1972 they didn't have a fight choreographer? Is this what's happening? Because
So bad. Like
it was
so
horrific.
yeah.
Yeah.
But part of that's like the charm of it all is why I think people still would watch it now. Is just like so bad
Definitely.
it's good, kind of like it's like it just gives you that glimpse. It's like nostalgic for because that's what growing up. That's everything was like that. Like everything was shitty like that.
Mhm.
It reminded me of a movie which
But growing
go
up to them wasn't shitty,
yeah,
right?
we didn't know
So
it was
just
shitty.
imagine, yeah. But I mean, but I'm just okay. Go ahead.
Me?
Go ahead.
Who me?
Yeah,
No, if nobody stopped you, you could finish, Art.
Yeah, I wasn't interrupting.
It's one of the few times we don't accidentally talk over art.
Yeah.
I know. Then he's like, never mind. As if
I was
trying
gonna
to
say it reminded me like
Yeah.
some of the stunts and stuff were so bad that it reminded me of a movie, and I instantly wished I would have picked this movie instead. Except that I don't know that we could find it anywhere. But the worst movie ever is called Manitou, and it stars Tony Curtis, and it's about it's about a woman who gets pregnant in her neck, and an old Indian man comes. She gives birth to an old Indian man out of her neck.
So I would have never spoken to you again if you had recommended such a movie. I'm barely
Manitou.
speaking to you now. I'm like barely speaking to you now. That would have pushed us into never ever.
But it's got a scene where an old lady falls down the steps, and it's an old lady who's like 4 feet tall. And when she falls down the steps, it's a 6'2" stunt man with a wig on, and the wig's like falling off, and he's like rolling down the stairs. It's so ridiculous that you just laugh out loud. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. So if you've never seen Manitou, everyone,
This reminds me, just brief aside, of when my older brother's daughter was born.
Is it beef?
John. Joe called me up to tell me about it by saying that John's wife had given birth to an old British white man. And I had no idea what he was talking about until he told me her name was Devon. And then I immediately went, oh, he's talking about Devon from Knight Rider.
Devon from Knight Rider.
Because that's the only Devon we knew. And
that's true.
I just distinctly remember being confused. And he, of course, being a dumbass, didn't explain it for a good minute. I was there, what are you talking about? Anyway.
So for you
that was
guys,
fun.
there's a lot of, there's not much to say. I mean, we're not going to go through this movie like scene by scene and describe what happens, but because it's like
no need.
It's a 70s Blaxploitation. It's
Here, I can sum it up
ridiculous.
in 5 seconds. You ready?
Yeah.
Dracula bites a black man from Africa. He becomes the next Dracula. 2 men, a part of the Rainbow family, inherit buy the stuff from the house. Boom, pow, now they're vampires. In comes the doctor man. He's like, man, these bites are crazy. What's happening? Everybody's like, nah, rat bite. He's like, something's up. The white policemen are like, man, you're crazy. He goes, no, I know something. His girlfriend is dating a woman who now looks like Dracula, the new Dracula's old wife. So he starts haunting her. She apparently has no self-resilience because after he tried to come onto her at night, she walks up and she's like, oh, thank you for returning my purse, which is red flag number 1, girlfriend. Anyway, she's smitten by this man. He starts killing everybody randomly. A taxi cab driver.
He wooed her with his cape.
Photographer
He
who
wooed her with his cape.
Oh, yeah, he won't ever
It's
get
all
rid
about the cape.
of the cape. And then turns out the girl he's in love with is the sister-in-law to the doctor cop guy who's hunting them down. And then he wants her forever. He can't have her. In a big shootout murder scene between vampires and cops, she gets murdered and he walks into the sun. The end.
So it's definitely a
Yeah.
horror.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
The
Go ahead.
way you described that, if I had never seen this movie, I would want to watch it.
And I would end that with watch it at your own risk.
I think I
Yeah,
like
the
TBJ's descriptions better than anybody. She should do the whole MCU in this quick
yeah,
5-second thing.
Second
yeah,
reviews of movies. It only works
the
if they're horrible movies.
If they're horrible.
right. We the whole thing where she is like apparently has kind of no identity of her own, because as soon as she lays eyes on this Blacula, who was called Blacula by Dracula, like cursed him with that
He
name.
named him
So
that. Yes.
Blacula is kind of a slur from a guy who was decided to bite him and turn him into a vampire and torture him because he was trying to stop the slave trade in the 1700s or whatever. And so I think that was, but she's like immediately like in a trance about him, and I think that was part of the original Dracula story. It was like wasn't there like a reincarnation of Dracula's beloved 100 years later? And like I remember, I think Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula had like she was like fighting feelings of her past self or whatever. I think that was supposed to be that, but it sort of just played like she's an idiot.
I also just forgot to mention that the two sisters who are dating these men are very young, and these men are very old, and that made me very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. I was like, y'all.
Well, according to the trivia on IMDb and Blacula, William Marshall kind of insisted that the producers give the character some dignity, so they changed the character's name. It was originally Andrew Brown. They changed it to Mama Walde, and then they built that background story about him being African prince, Mama Walde, about being an African prince turned into a vampire by Dracula in 1780. So that part was like added on to give it some kind of dignity, I guess, as to who knows.
And that dude playing Dracula, he's only in like the opening scene, and he's I don't know, he's like he's one of the lamer Draculas I've ever seen. He looked like a shitty Tim Curry.
But this movie actually did well. Yeah, he reminded me of Tim Curry. But it actually grossed over $1 million in 1972, one of the highest grossing films of that year.
Yeah, it would have been exciting at that time.
At that time, for what it was. That's
the first black vampire on film.
Yeah.
Although Blade would have kicked his ass.
Yeah, Blade. Yeah, he was the first. He was the first black vampire on TV. Yeah,
and apparently it started a trend of black themed horror films. So,
and as I mentioned to Art, so the love interest is sort of somehow reincarnated. His girlfriend reincarnated from, or his wife reincarnated from.
You guys should be impressed by this.
Early days.
You should be impressed by this.
Yeah, Vanetta McGee. Vanetta McGee plays the love interest, and she is very closely connected to the MCU.
Really?
She married someone. The actress was married to someone in the MCU. Does anybody have any guesses? Art can't guess. He already knows.
Who are we talking about?
Vanetta McGee, the love interest in this show, who was the wife, and then it was later his love interest that looked just like his wife that he was interested in. Vanetta McGee is the actress.
Is currently married to someone in the MCU?
No, she's dead. She died in 2010, but she was married to an actor who was in the MCU.
No clue.
The guy who played T'Chaka.
Wait, who?
The guy who played T'Chaka, Black Panther's dad, or maybe the guy who
let's just say also she married this guy on the set. She met this guy on the set of Cagney and Lacey.
That does not help me in any way.
That's why you know this.
They had a child born in 1988, Carl Lumbly.
Oh yeah, that's the guy from Falcon Winter Soldier, right? The guy who played
Isaiah Bradley.
Isaiah Bradley.
Oh, okay.
So
that was my second guess.
MCU connection.
Like, how many older black men are in the MCU?
Right.
Chaka,
not many. Yeah, you were going through all Black Panther. Yeah.
Sam Jackson.
Well, we know his wife though, so it's not Sam Jackson.
And Samuel L. Jackson.
If you don't know Sam Jackson's wife, you should know Sam Jackson's wife. He is older. We had this debate last time. We were like, no, he's really young. And then we looked up his age and we were like, no, he is his age. Yeah, but 70. His wife is a force in herself. So if you don't know her, you should.
Yes. And they are in love. They've been married for 1 million years, right, TBJ?
Yeah, like literally forever. She was with him when he was on crack. She is
Yeah.
grown with that man.
There's only
I would
one
li-
woman he would ever cheat on her with, and that's TBJ.
No, I wouldn't do that to her.
Yeah, but he would, but you wouldn't. So he could.
Right.
All right, here's just a brief list of the Blaxploitation horror films that followed this, not including Scream, Blacula, Scream, the sequel to this, where he's somehow
Or
resurrected.
Blackenstein.
That's what Art and I couldn't figure out.
Blackenstein.
How do they do a sequel? Because he dies in the end. Spoiler alert, he dies at the end of this one.
TV already said I read the synopsis, and apparently like a voodoo queen brings him back to life somehow.
Oh, of
You
course.
know they have
Not
to
a
do
queen-
something.
it's not a
'cause
queen.
He didn't
It's
just
not a
die.
queen.
He died with maggots and blood coming out of his body.
Yeah, out of his
so-
It
out
wasn't
of
a
his
voodoo queen.
skull. And that was
This
terrible.
guy-
The worst graphics ever with that whole
Oh my
skull.
gosh.
It's so terrible.
It was actually
Insane.
a guy who brought him back.
It
It's
was.
actually a guy who brought him back to life.
Well, the good thing
Yeah.
is we could do Blacula 2 next
No,
time.
we cannot.
I think you should choose Black. Have you seen the trailer for Blackenstein, Andy?
I have not. Didn't know Blackenstein existed. There was Ganja and Hess.
What about the
who's,
Blunch Black of Blocher Blame?
archaeology? Is an archaeologist is stabbed with a cursed dagger and becomes a vampire. There's Abby in 1974, a parody of The Exorcist, where a minister's wife is possessed by a sex demon. That might be a porn movie. Sugar Hill about zombies. Dr.
You
Black,
never know.
Mr. Hyde.
That's a good question. Now you brought this up, Andy. Are porn
Oh,
movies
dear.
off the table for Nerd School for this
We
little?
are
Yes.
not watching adult films.
William
Get that out
Crane,
of
the guy
there.
who directed this, William Crane, also directed Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, where Dr. Black creates a cream that changes his skin tone and personality. I'm
I
afraid of
wonder
that
to
one.
what.
Dr. Black and Mr.
Right.
Hyde.
See, JD's Revenge, when a dead gangster takes over the body of
I've
someone
seen
to
that.
catch
James
his
Revenge
murder.
is pretty good. Blaxploitation.
Black Devil Doll from Hell, which is a Christian woman has sex with a puppet. Okay, that's 1984. Then you got Tales from the Hood,
What about a vampire in Brooklyn?
Killjoy,
what you
a
should've
supernatural
chose,
killer
Joe.
clown.
Yeah.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Bones, where Snoop
stuff I
Dogg is
haven't
like
seen yet that I should have seen.
the
I remember
murdered guy
that
who rises
one.
from the
If
grave.
Snoop Dogg's in it, it's got to be good, right?
Sure.
There's
we'll-
also Snoop
we'll let you
Dogg's
have that.
Hood of Horror, which is an anthology. Thanks, but I had never heard of most of these.
Have you guys before this ever heard of the band that was playing in a couple scenes, the Hughes Corporation?
No. I
No,
haven't.
but I thought they were
They
exceptionally.
were jamming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, this is some. I
They
guess
were-
that's the only place they go is like, oh, let's go to this club and watch those guys again.
They're best known for their 1974 hit song "Rock the Boat," which
Are
I
you
feel
better
like
than Cheek Face?
that's how they're not better. They're better than Cheek Face. Everyone's better than Cheek Face.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize, the gay couple at the beginning who were trying to flip. They apparently bought Count Dracula's estate and were trying to sell all his shit.
Yeah.
They were actually an interracial couple, which was also apparently groundbreaking at the time.
Oh,
That is true. That is 1972.
yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, but also not as as could be.
Yeah,
But,
look
Is
at
that your overall, Andy? Your view of this movie is not as bad as it could have been.
It's
Could've been
obviously not a great
worse.
movie. There's a lot of like important movies that are not great movies, and this is sort of it broke some ground, but it also has its problems,
It was important
and
for
is
its
still a
time.
cheesy horror movie. Yeah,
Yes, important for its time. Hella problematic now.
right. But I did like William Marshall's performance, or maybe I just liked his voice. I don't know what it is, but he was just.
yeah.
Yes, I am a very important African prince, and I am
Mhm.
very mysterious. But I don't care about you. I will basically tell you I'm a vampire and not care. Because all I care about is you.
I think you should watch JD's Revenge, Andy. I think you should watch. I think you might like that. That's Lou Gossett Jr. in it, and Glenn Turman. But I remember the last time I remember watching that movie, I think I was probably like in my 20s, and I was in a barber shop, and it was on the television, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I seen the dude get killed, and he comes back to life, and I'm like, "Whoa, this is kind of cool." Like, what are we watching here?
Stars Glenn Turman, who was in Cooley High, Joe. I know you know that movie.
Yeah, Cooley High was a
That's
good
a
movie.
great movie.
And he was also in A Different World.
Who was? Who are we talking about?
Glenn Turman, the star of JD's Revenge, who is basically a dead gangster that comes back to life to go after the guy who murdered him.
Mm.
He's also Clarence Royce. He played the Baltimore Clarence Royce on The Wire.
See, my favorite character in this movie was Skillet, who was also in Harlem Nights.
Yeah,
All
Vince.
Skillet does is come in and to hit on the ladies and drink the free.
Is it me or did Skillet have like a Dwayne Wayne vibe to him?
You're like, that's a cool kid.
Creepier than Dwayne Wayne. Oh,
Yeah.
creepier.
Well, that actor was also in Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. And
Well, same director as
Skillet
well.
says he got something for her. Ooh, Skillet.
yeah, Skillet was cool as hell. Like, it's just they
I knew
needed
it was
one
a
other
Liz,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
I did kind of like that all the vampire tropes are just, they're all there and they know them all. Oh, we got a vampire. Let's go get a crucifix and
Yeah. Well, he did have that book. He did his research, and I got that book out of
no,
that.
that's true.
Like, keep this.
He did.
This,
A couple
that
books.
cross was something stiff too. Like it was made out of some really strong silver and
Yeah. Some of the knocks on IMDb, like the goofs and everything, is like, well, this guy, Blacula was in a coffin and from the 1800s until the 70s, and he comes out, he already knows what a camera is. Like, he's like, and there were some other things.
Well, I mean, there is like a period of time, like I thought about that too, when he's like initially chasing her and like he gets hit by a car or something, and then it's the cabbie, whatever. And I guess maybe, I did notice there was a certain lack of surprise at his new surroundings, I guess.
Well, he would have had to. How did he survive all that time without any blood for that many years? He would have had to get out and drink blood.
He was in a deep sleep.
Deep sleep.
Yeah,
Deep sleep.
and his actual wife had to died just with him locked in that room.
But the worst,
Although
we gotta say, how could you not laugh when he turns into the bat? Like the bat
Oh my
was
God.
so shitty. I was
It
like,
was just
oh my God.
it was just like a fade. It's like
Exactly. That's all it was. A fade.
it wasn't even a transformation thing. It just like blink. There's a bat.
No,
And
my
that's
knock
fine.
is the lack of consistency in the vampires. Some of the vampires are green. Some of them are their own race.
Yeah.
Some of them turn quickly. Some of them take days to turn. I was like, what is happening? The lack of consistency.
Yeah,
If
that's
we're
right.
gonna vampire,
Whatever
let's
you do, make
the method.
when he told old boy to make sure you lock the when you make sure she
Lock the
doesn't
door.
they lock the door. I like now you know that man ain't gonna lock the door, especially when that phone rang.
Yeah. If you just call
And that's
out
one of those things
specifically
I
a
can-
thing he's supposed
I
to
just
do.
imagine being in the theater. People are like, he gonna leave that door unlocked. Oh, he can go out and let that door unlocked.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh, I
people-
imagine plenty of conversation when it was playing live.
This would have been fun to watch with us all live together, probably. At a theater working all stuff.
Eating popcorn and
Yeah.
waiting for the credits to roll.
Rolling
Yeah.
my eyes 50 times.
I do want to do something sometime where we do like they do some podcasts where they'll actually watch it a lot, like a watch along where you start the movie and then we talk over it and then you can pause it
Like
whenever you
Mr.
want.
Science
Just be,
Theater
wait a
2000.
second. Like they do, like who does that? What some of those
Mystery
wrestling
Science Theater.
podcasts? Wrestling podcasts do it with like, okay, the pay-per-view, we're starting it now, and then you start
Y'all's
it, listen
ADD
along.
and ability to stay on track. I feel like half the movie would be missed.
We would never get
And
through
a
it.
watch
yeah.
along, you would miss half the movie because you would just talk about something else, and then no one would know what we watched. You'd have to watch it ahead of time and then watch together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
we
you
can
have-
do it at the
Okay.
Independent Picture House and do a live show. Come
We
watch
could.
this with Nerd School, and then we can't pause it. We have to just like talk over.
That's
or
valid.
Viz art maybe.
But then you have to
We can
actually
do-
somehow, get the movie, and we'd have
Get the
to
rights to the
pay for
movie.
all that shit.
All that, yeah.
Well, that's all the more reason to get a sponsor.
Yes,
Someone
so if you
pay
wanna
us
sponsor Nerd Skool,
money.
Preparation H. sponsor.
Anybody.
We love
Sponsors.
Art and I have a lot of hemorrhoids, and we put them on
I
each other.
kind of want to get Perforation H as a sponsor, and then they insist that TBJ has to do all the ad copy reading.
Yeah, no. They better be paying a lot. A lot.
What is
And
the
I'm
price
taking
point
a
in
large
which
percentage.
you would do voiceovers for Preparation H commercials? How much would they have to shell out? I guess you don't want to go into negotiations with it.
Yeah, we got to
price
wait
point
and
I'm
see
committed to.
what they're
Yeah.
willing.
Yeah, we would just
Yeah.
know it would take a lot for me to do it. And I am taking an extra cut if I have to read hemorrhoid commercials. Hemorrhoid commercials, the herpes medicine commercials.
I like the idea of a hemorrhoid commercial, like they're
and
trying to
then
sell
teenage
you on the
parents.
concept of hemorrhoids. Like, hey, you should get hemorrhoids.
You should have some hemorrhoids.
Yeah,
Like,
no
this
one wants
Which
that.
also reminds me
It's
of a period of time in
soothing.
pro wrestling when Edge and Christian, there was a running gag where they were accusing each other of using ass cream. And then at one point, someone actually had a jar of ass cream brand ass cream. It actually said ass cream on the jar. And that's basically the apex of professional wrestling for me.
Yes.
Ass
All right,
cream.
friends.
Well,
I think
okay.
that's where we need to end this. What's
Yeah.
the next pick? We have
That's Blacula. So next, who is next? Who's the next one we're gonna do? And so
we have a throwback from Andy, a documentary from Art,
Well,
and
it's not even it's a movie. So it has
Okay.
Luke Evans plays the guy who created Wonder Woman.
oh,
But it's
I know
about
what you're
him.
talking about. Okay.
So yeah,
And
I think there is a documentary about that guy, and then
Yeah,
I
there
guess
is
they
a yeah.
probably made the movie based on that documentary, inspired by
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I would
yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
let's see where you're at.
Which I think it'll be perfect just because the guy Luke Evans. I think I should go next. One,
right,
because
let's
the
do
guy
Arts
Luke
next.
Evans.
Wait, before
the
we
guy-
decide this, is this gonna piss me off? Because I don't want two pissing me off in back to back.
No. All I was going to say is the guy who played Luke Evans. I mean, the guy Luke Evans played a Dracula. He was a part of the failed.
Is the movie gonna
Universal,
piss her off?
Is the movie gonna piss me off? Is what I'm asking.
No,
you.
not at all. If anything, it might empower you. It might empower you. to
It's
be
women's
Wonder Woman,
empowerment, right?
hero star.
There's some things about the creator
you might
woman,
wanna-
Wonder Woman that make me question him as a human, as a man. So I'm asking you, how much of that is in this
I don't know.
film?
It's not a woman created Wonder Woman.
Just know
Now,
it's
a man,
I've read
his wife.
I've read that some of the things are inaccurate, and that the family kind of pissed off about some of the things that were portrayed in this movie.
So tell us,
But,
what's the movie called?
Professor Marston and the Wonder Women.
And you can watch this on Disney Plus.
Tubi.
No,
Tubi.
you
Sorry.
cannot
It's on
watch this on
Tubi.
Disney Plus because Disney Plus wouldn't air it. I think
Oh,
this
'cause
is the
it's a
one that
DC
might
thing.
make me angry, but fine. All right, I'll watch this one.
I feel like everything makes you angry.
Uh-oh.
That
No.
isn't what you think.
No, only so far
Everything
in
makes you
history, only
angry.
Joe has made me angry every damn time. You were hit or miss.
Oh, Professor Marston
I-
and the Wonder Women 2017 drama action film. Rated R.
Action.
I feel like you have a predisposition to go in hating what Joe's going to pick before Joe even
I
picks.
tried very hard not to hate what Joe.
I was
picked,
trying to pick
and-
something good with. I figured you can't go wrong with Blacula.
and yet you did.
This movie stars
did it
William
for
Moulton,
Black History
Rebecca
Month.
Hall. Oh, Connie Britton's in it. I know her. Oliver Platt's in it. Oh, you said Luke Evans already. I don't know a lot of these other ones, but
And you can't go wrong with Oliver Platt. Can't go wrong with Oliver Platt.
he was in a wrestling movie.
Which one?
Okay, if that's our Andy. What say you?
I'm fine with that. I think mine can go last because we'll bookend with old monster movies.
Gojira.
Okay.
This is the story of psychologist William Moulton Marston and his polyamorous relationship with his wife and their mistress, who would inspire his creation of the superheroine Wonder Woman.
Joe's giving a preview before the next.
No,
one.
I don't, I gotta
Premiered at the
anything.
Toronto International Film
For the
Festival, which is
record, I'm not
prestigious.
mad that they were polyamorous. I'm mad at some insinuations of power dynamics inside of that.
And
Sure.
there was a as far as I know, a bondage fetish at play as well. Hence the
Which
lasso.
I'm also not necessarily mad at. Do you? I will
Whoa.
not yuck. But when I
Boom.
feel like there can be some power dynamics.
So TBJ, you're not going to be upset if Art Star likes ladies to tie him up and spank the hell out of him. You don't care about that?
No, I wish he would monetize it so we can make money. I'm fine with that.
The film does have an 87% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, if that helps.
Okay, yeah.
Does that help? What does Angie's List say about it?
I don't know.
That's more for ladies.
No, it's not. That's
Isn't there
very
ladies
not
something
true.
like Angie's List? Like that's like for
Angie's List
ladies.
is for anyone who is looking to get help.
It used to be ladies, but isn't there like something for like that you can look and see like how like feminist a movie or like what feminists say about if it's problematic or not, or like a homophobic scale, or if not, should we start that? Like Blacula
Oh,
would
you're
get-
talking about the Bechdel test is the one for women. Like
Yeah.
how long can a movie go without things being centered around a man or a man being mentioned? So does
Oh,
it pass
right
the
on.
Bechdel test?
Yeah, it's like, are there two female characters who have a conversation that doesn't involve a man?
Does involve a
Yeah.
man. That's right. Yeah,
That or isn't about a man either.
Yeah, not about.
That's the test. That's a
It's
simple.
not even close.
But there's not like a
Test.
website where you can just look up any movie and see where.
Someone probably has invented said things. If we search, you can
Yeah.
probably search movie name and does movie name pass Bechdel test?
Bechdel test movie list.
Or you can do a co-pilot or a Google Gemini, maybe some AI thing could probably pull it for you.
That's
So-
true.
So just don't Google Lemon Party.
Do
Listen,
not
I feel
ever
like
do
we've
that.
talked about
should.
this before, and we've
I think you
agreed
should.
that that's not happening.
That's what I think that website does. It does that.
No, if your website keeps doing that, then that's something you need to have a conversation about with.
Look up
yourself.
Cleveland Steamer. Look up Cleveland Steamer.
Cleveland Steamer at work, everyone. Next time you're at work, everyone, look up Cleveland Steamer.
Next time you're at work, never listen to Joe or Art, or they will get you fired.
TBJ is the greatest American human.
Am I? I'm sure my ex-husband would
Probably. You probably are. You can't. It's subjective, right? Nobody will never know.
It is subjective, but there are people who are not fans, and it's
Well,
okay.
Well, those people are going to get karate chopped by Art Star.
BechdelTest.com does exist, and
Okay.
it's not comprehensive. It looks like, but
But you can look up
It's-
movies. Is there a search thing? where you
it's
can,
got a
like,
big list of a list of movies from the last several years and check marks if
And
they pass.
if they
X's
pass?
if they don't.
Oh, good.
What?
Yep.
Type in
Clerks
Blackula,
3
see
did
what
not
comes up.
pass.
Clerks 3, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
What
I
about
would not
Blacula? See if
imagine they
Blacula
would.
play.
Is Blacula on there?
No, I mean
No.
it looks like it's. Oh wait, I don't know how far it goes back, but you have to page through it.
That's the thing. We didn't know. We learned that today on the Blacula episode. We learned that.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness did pass.
Wow.
Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers did pass.
Isn't that a TV show? TV shows are there too?
They made a movie.
I think they
Oh, they
make a
did?
movie, or it might have been a
Chip and
TV movie
Dale.
or something.
They made a
Spider-Man
movie.
Across the Spider-Verse passes.
Go Zendaya. Oh wait, that's not.
Oppenheimer does not
You
pass.
get a pass.
I could have told you that.
And you get a
Yeah.
pass.
The
Don't you
Marvels
think?
passes.
Don't you think we should just elect Oprah Winfrey as president and just be done with
Killers
it?
of the Flower Moon does not pass.
Nah.
You don't like Oprah, TBJ?
I adore Oprah, but she has her own problems.
What about Gail?
Yes, I think Gail could run.
I mean, not run, just president for life.
Who would be her VP?
That's a good question.
Mm, maybe P-Jax.
Whoopi?
Me. I said me.
T-Jax.
Oh yeah.
TB-Jax.
I'm the vice president.
You could be, yeah, you couldn't be vice president. You got to be president.
I
I'm
don't
not
know
gonna be
how
vice
I
president.
feel
I don't want
about
to be in
her
charge of
being
the red
vice
button.
Let's just test it, TBJ. If you were president, would you paint the White House black?
No, but my interior walls would be filled with black art.
There you go. MC Breed would paint the White House black.
Yeah, I don't want to be the president though. I'd just be the VP.
Okay. The Veep. Okay, you and
Would you be like Elaine?
No,
Elaine
I'd
from
Julia
be
Louis
Seinfeld.
Dreyfus?
not Elaine. I'd be very much the lethal one. I'd be. Did you watch
Him
Scandal?
and the
He's not
dog.
the vice president, but he is service to the president. Cyrus. I would be a mix of Cyrus and Olivia Pope. Which is
Cyrus, oh yeah.
frightening.
I would Cyrus was cool as fuck.
But
If I would
Blaine,
like I feel like Cyrus has mad Sith energy.
Uh-huh.
well, I said a mix between him and Olivia Pope. But before we go, my favorite Cyrus line is, "You think you're a beast, baby? I'm a monster." And that
Oh, boom. We got to
is
end the episode
everything.
on that.
That's how I feel when people want to challenge me. Come on.
And I also want to just say I've been reading. I have Marvel Unlimited,
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 unlaminated.
and I started watching the newest, or reading the
You
newest.
said watching and
Joe,
reading
go to
episodes?
bed. You can't even.
I can't
keep
say
any
anything.
words
Let's
straight.
start the sentence over.
I'm reading the new Black Panther comic on Marvel Unlimited, and I
Which
read the
one?
first issue.
Is
It's
this
only like,
who wrote this one?
oh, God,
Is it Ta-Nehisi Coates?
let me see. How do I open it? How do I?
Because I mean,
Ta-Nehisi.
Marvel Unlimited doesn't get stuff right away, does it?
It's
Art?
the newest. It just started
No.
in
I
20.
just gotta wait a few
That's-
months.
That should be Eve. Is it Eve?
Hold on, let me look it up.
Is it Eve Ewing?
I got a thing Blue
Email
Stacks
you?
player that has a bunch of commercials first, but anyway, they're about to introduce Deathlock. Does that help? Tell you anything?
Introduce him. He's been around since the 70s, I think.
No, in this series, like it just started at issue 1.
So if it's the new one, you should be reading the one by Eve L. Ewing.
I'm so dumb when it comes to that stuff.
She's
Like,
the one that's writing Black Panther now.
oh, it's written. I know it's written by a woman because there's like a
And that's
forward
it.
or
Yeah, Eve L. Ewing.
yeah, that sounds right. It was interesting because I like how they write a whole big thing about, I've been honored to be selected to write this, and this is what I've always wanted Black Panther to do. I guess that's just a thing they do in maybe they've always done that in comics, but
Well, you have to think of how many new
She
people
also
are.
she
over
also
your
wrote Monica
classics.
Rambeau Photon and Ironheart. So she's a great writer.
Damn thing.
it started in 2023. It's just a 6-issue thing. Let me pull it up and see if I can tell who.
I just told you.
No,
who it
we're
was.
pretty sure we're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's make sure we're
You
talking
don't
about the same
look
one.
it up. We got it. We got it.
But didn't you want to know something else about it, or no? That's it. Anyway, so at the end of the first episode, then it's like, or issue. I got
There you go with this episode.
It's like the next issue, Deathlock, and I was like, that was another thing, was I've never heard of Deathlock until I played Marvel Snap, and now I'm excited about what the fuck's this character.
He's kind of like a dead guy in a robot outfit.
Don't spoil it, you idiot! I'm about to read it.
All right. Well,
Anyway.
there's multiple Deathlocks, so
Is Deathlock normally a Black Panther character, or is it just a Marvel
he
character?
debuted in Astonishing Tales number 25 in 1974.
Oh, so he's been around for a long time. Okay. I have
Yes.
no idea. I don't know.
All right, friends. I'm gonna
Anyway,
wrap this up because
yeah,
I'm tired.
Wrap it up, TBJ, and give us that quote again that you love. Just go out on that.
No, I already did that. You have to go back and find it. I'm just gonna remind everyone that
Okay,
the next
I'll put it
movie is
back. I'll cut
Professor
it.
Marston and the Wonder Women.
Yep.
So
We'll be
that's all
back
I'm
with that
reminding
one.
you.
We gotta
That's all
watch
for
that one.
Blacula.
Yep, that's it for Blacula. Thanks for listening, everybody. And please, if you liked Blacula and you think we're wrong about not liking it very much, hit us up on Instagram at Nerd Skool.
Nerd Skool. The cool school with the K.
Yep.
Word up.
All right, TBJ, sing us out.
Not happening. Later, nerds.
Beatbox us out, TBJ. Beatbox us out.
You guys are gonna learn. It's never gonna happen.
Thank you for listening to the Nerd Skool podcast.
They say I can't rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end in racism. Proud of a pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems. Mr. officer. Now they POTUS look like me, you gon' think again when seeing brothers rolling down the street. Every Martin Luther King on his American dream. Still a Rodney being beaten, screaming fuck the police. Me, I'm running through the pasture trying to get away from master, but the dogs is on my ass, I gotta move a little faster. Can't pass for Caucasian, but I got a couple papers from the plantation saying I graduated. Congratulations, cool beans, but to most school mean trying to dodge STDs, living off government cheese. Trust the government, please. Not even if it was me sitting in the Oval Office as commander-in-chief, trying to give us free, but there's a nigga in my ear saying, you got it, Superman, you ought to keep it here. Get this distinctly clear, I'm all about jetting. Raps Kunta Kinte without the half-stepping. A new chapter, back with new lessons. After that, the final exam. Any questions?
QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.
Excelsior.